That's all right.
The first time in like 10, how many
It gives
shows?
us
We've done,
something
like,
to
10
talk
shows.
about. Yay. Who's on?
Where are we on, Ron?
I can't see myself.
Well, we must
Well,
be delayed.
hey guys, well, apparently we are live. We have had a bit of technical difficulties today. It's because of the rain. But here we are.
Here we are.
Here we are.
Welcome to the replay. If you're watching the replay, we're going to kick off with the intro. See you soon.
Got it.
Oh, we're back. We were just saying that we haven't had any technical glitches on the show. I think we've done like 8 shows now, so this is hilarious, our first time in. So
I know, we coped. You coped very well on that.
Well, I was just saying to Pete, old me, seriously, like about a year ago, I would have been freaking out.
Yeah.
I'd have been blushing terribly. I would have made it, attached myself to the meaning of it, thinking, oh, you'll think that we're idiots because we had some technical glitches, as opposed to it just being frickin' life. So
No, that's right. We were very calm and very, basically just picked up our phones and tweeted and text messaged and chilled out, didn't we?
like our guest is chilled out tonight too, because
right.
it can be a little bit embarrassing when you have a guest come a long way and you're like, oh yeah, so about the show, we're starting late. Anyway, enough about glitches. What's up, P? You don't look so jet lagged this week, I have to say.
Thank you. Yeah, no, actually I do feel a lot better. Jet lag is not anyone's friend. Like, if anyone had any remedies, I probably should have asked for them last week, but I did struggle quite a bit, especially when you come home and you've got to get back into business and feel, yay. I was not feeling, yay. It was sort of like, oh no, I got to get out of bed. But I'm still not 100%, to be honest. I'm still...
You know that show, this is old, we're going like old school, but like that Weekend at Bernie's, and like he's dead and you have to hold him up at the party, last week
that
it was
me
like that.
Last week, yeah, that's right, totally last week. Oh, but I do have to say, like last night I celebrated my brother's birthday. He turned 25.
Oh my gosh.
And we went to the movies, and I don't know if you've seen it, but we went to Infinity War. It's the Marvel movie with all the...
I haven't even seen The Greatest Showman yet.
Oh, I'm not even going to get into that subject because The Greatest Showman is also a fantastic movie. But Infinity War was such a great movie. It was I think it was 2 hours long. The whole time I was just riveted. It was such a good movie. So if you need to do something with your children, maybe older children, 8 and up maybe, I don't know. Or your partners, take them to that movie because it's so good. But I might add, you have to watch all the other Marvel movies too because there's lots of...
Otherwise it won't make sense.
Yeah, well, have you seen Guardians of the Galaxy? Oh.
Sorry, what?
Okay,
no,
someone
I'm
needs...
not into that stuff.
Okay, I need to message your husband and tell him he needs to take you out a little bit more.
He does.
But yeah, that was good reference movies. But yeah, so back into work and it's been a bit crazy.
Speaking of work, what's the haps? What have been your clients been struggling with? What do you feels on the street? You know, ears to the ground in the engine room. What's been happening?
Yeah, a lot of changes with my clients. You know, we're moving into winter now, so there's a lot of different, you know, everyone's, especially the last few days, it's been like raining and just terrible weather, and that brings people down naturally. So just trying to keep them up and going. And I've been working on my Rebels program, which I'm really, since I've come back from my trip, I'm really stoked about because it's got all those challenges and to encourage people to get outside of the box and that sort of stuff.
Let's talk about something, P. You are a rebel.
Yeah.
Like,
do you really
like pink, you have pink hair, and you just, oh yeah, and then you just went to South America, you know, like, that's, you know, wouldn't consider that usual practice, you know?
I guess I am a rebel, but I don't feel like a rebel. I just feel like, I don't know, I guess I probably am.
Just own it.
You know, I did go on a helicopter, and I don't like being in small spaces.
Oh, that would have been freaky.
And I went on a jet boat.
Did you feel safe, though, in South America? Like, sometimes, you know, there's connotations that can be attached to various countries, and I know that you said that a couple of people have asked you about it.
Yeah, I've had quite a few people ask me over the last few days just questions about South America and did I feel safe? You know, there's a lot of thievery, they reckon, but there was nothing like that. I felt safe the whole time I was there. You know, it was amazing, like all the things that you hear in the media or, you know, over the course of your life. You know, South America isn't really somewhere that, you know, like as New Zealanders, it's go to Europe. You know, we're sort of conditioned to like maybe go to America or go to Europe. And so South America for me was never on the spectrum of a place to go to, but it is an amazing continent. You know, there's different, obviously it's not just one whole country, it's a different continent of a whole lot of different countries. You know, Chile and Rio and Peru is just absolutely it's die for country. The Amazon, you know, I had a whole lot of people asking me, did I see snakes? You know, real fearful. And I didn't see any snakes at all. So
your photos are amazing, by the way. Like last week when you showed your photos, are absolutely incredible. Like you're a great photographer. It's just a beautiful place to go. So I think everyone should, you know, just put it on there. You know, Machu Picchu, you know, a lot of people have asked me, is it actually as spectacular as people make it out to be? And I have to say it's more. Wow.
It's like this place, and just the fact that they built that so many thousands and thousands of years ago, and the way that they've built it on, and just getting up there, and you know, you don't have to walk the Inca Trail. A lot of people were sort of like, oh well, I want to do it, but I'm not fit because I can't do the Inca Trail. You actually can get a train down to the township, and then you just have to climb up to Machu Picchu from there, and it's quite easy to do, and you can just, you know, it's phenomenal. Like I'd go back to Machu Picchu.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, and Iguazu Falls, the waterfalls. Yeah, I could have spent a lot of time just taking photos, and the parrots and the macaws, and yeah, sorry, I didn't know. We didn't mean to talk about that, but...
Shut up, Peter, you bloody trip to South America, blah, blah.
I know. But yes, it is a very safe country to go to. I mean, obviously, anywhere you travel, you always have to be protective of the things that you have and the way that you travel. You know, maybe, you know, even when you travel to America, there's unsafe places. Yeah. So it's just being mindful of where you're going, and, you know, going in a group is always a good idea if you're just not sure.
Thanks,
What about you? What has been going on with your clients and business? I know you were excited to tell us some stuff.
Yeah, it's really cool, actually. I shared a poem, not mine. Shared a poem on the We Network the other day, and I want to share it tonight because it's such a beautiful poem, and I know a lot of you know it. And the reason why I want to share it with you guys is because you know that I'm all about keeping it real, being 100% committed, and talking about the realities of business. And I know a lot of my clients at the moment, they feel like they're doing everything. This will make my guests laugh. Balls to the wall, you know, like it's really full on. Business is maybe not going where they need it to be going, but they feel like they're just spinning the wheels. So this is for you guys out there. Andy, make sure you get a nice shot, Andy. Don't do the close-up of my face. So it's by Theodore Roosevelt, and you guys would have heard it. It's the man in the arena. It's not the critic who counts, not the man who points out how the strong man stumbles, or where the doer of deeds could have done them better. The credit belongs to the man who is actually in the arena, whose face is marred by dust and sweat and blood, who strives valiantly, who errs, who comes short again and again, because there is no effort without error and shortcoming, but who does actually strive to do the deeds, who knows great enthusiasms, the great devotions, who spends himself in a worthy cause, who at the best knows in the end the triumph of high achievement, and who at the worst, if he fails, at least he fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be those cold and timid souls who never knew victory nor defeat. Like, seriously.
Wow, that's really good.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah.
And so I wanted to send that to those of you who are feeling in that spot at the moment. I know there's a few of you. So that's also I wanted to share tonight.
Yeah, I love that.
Isn't that amazing? Got it really feeling. Anyway, get all emotional as you get older. But I'm really excited about the show tonight and the guest who we have on. P and I really strive to bring you women who are going to show you the real journey, like the man in the arena, and not the fast track, and not just the, Pantene overnight. And who will inspire you, right? Because we can talk about it, but we could probably be like your mum and dad's. Like, just because we say it doesn't mean it's true.
No, that's right. I think a lot of people need that, especially when, maybe people got to realise, especially women in business, got to realise not every marketing idea is actually going to work.
Yeah.
You've got to throw a lot of, what are those things?
Arrows?
Yeah, or darts to the dartboard for one to stick. You've got to repeat things so many times for your audience to finally that will click on. So, don't be discouraged, because we all feel like that. Even like, one of my clients was like, well, it's easy for you to say, Pauline, because you've been, doing it for so long. Ages. But it's like, but I was there. We were there. We did it as well, and we just had to dig in and keep going. Anyway, I'm excited about introducing
a new guest.
Yes.
So I love it how I get to intro the guest, and I feel really, really privileged.
Don't get excited, because it's not going to be for every time.
I know.
I'm just letting you have this one.
So what's going to be confusing tonight, though, right, is our guest is also called Nat.
Yes.
Nat Cutler-Welsh, Nat CW to those of you who know her well. And, and truly honoured to have you here, Nat. I was looking through photos to introduce you on the page, and honestly, every second photo was either of you and I with a group, and I said to P on the way here, man, Nat has helped my business so much through caring, through connecting, through hosting incredible networking events, and just being who you fundamentally are, which is A for awesome. But for me, you've always been a trailblazer, Nat. If someone's going to do something first, it's this chick here. Seriously. Right. Trailblazer, action taker. And what I also love about Nat is we share similar brains, meaning they're pretty creative, right?
And expressive.
And Nat is a legend at networking. So we wanted to bring Nat on tonight to talk about how to pivot your business. Nat's pivoted her business a couple of times now, from the beginning, from when she was established. We want to talk about how you can work with the creative brain and heaps of other cool stuff. So, Nat, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Ooh.
Give us a quick intro of who you are, what you do, and then we're going to ask you some cool questions.
Okay, cool. Sure. So, my business is Go-To Girl, and that's where it started. It actually started out with me going in my local community after moving up to Auckland and not really knowing anybody. And people were like, oh, I need a babysitter, I need a plumber. It kind of started like that. And I'm going, my neighbor can babysit, let me introduce you. It literally started like that. And then, of course, the women's coffee group in my lounge, et cetera, and running events. But it really started with going to cafes and teaching people how to use Pinterest and Facebook, because I knew how to do that, because that's what I did, because I wrote that parenting book. So writing a book was kind of the launch of my business unintentionally. And it's really funny how now, 6.5 years later, I've circled back and I talk a lot about parenting, motherhood, juggling the mother load, all that stuff, which is where I started. And of course, keeping the love alive. So it's fascinating how it is a journey, and you do tweak and pivot, sometimes intentionally, and sometimes you just I don't know where this is going. And I've definitely been in both those places. I'm like a lady on a mission, and then other times I'm like, I have no idea where this is going, but I'm just going to go with it.
That's great.
That's pretty cool, Nat. You go, P, you go.
Well, I just love the fact that the Go-To Girl networking, that was just such a time, and sort of, it's almost like there's this massive rush of people starting businesses, and then you were right there, and it was like a hub of where you could network, and it was just a different way of networking that I've never come across before. And I just think, you just brought everyone together, and it was just such a beautiful thing, to be honest.
We'll do another one someday.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, we already asked her.
I'm going to pivot. I'm going to make it a little different.
Yeah. I definitely think you do, because there's no one else doing it. And you're so good at it. Especially for those people who hate networking.
I know. I drag you guys out.
Yeah.
For those introverts, it's it's not
it's
so bad.
It's so good. Yeah. So, Nat, would love for you to, there's a lot of people who are watching tonight who won't know who you are, which I'm like, where have you been, under a rock? Like, how do you not know Nat? But take us back to, because you're not from New Zealand.
Can you hear that?
Can you hear? I can hear. Can you hear? I'd love you to take us right back, because I know that you've done Spirited Adventure. I want people to see that this is who you innately are, inherently are. So I want us to know a little bit of background story of where you came from.
Okay, I'm not going to go too far back, but I'll tell you something that a lot of people don't know. So my grandmother had an amazing life, and I love the concept of lifestyle design. Like, live the life you want. Like, and I believe that. Stop whinging about what's happening and make things happen. Like, that's really me to a T. Anyway,
yes.
She lived her life summer to summer. So my family's from New Zealand. People have heard me say that before. They don't believe me, but she would spend her summer in New Zealand. She lived in Auckland, in Kohimarama, interestingly. She would come over to Toronto, where I was born and grew up. Summer to summer, right? And every 5 years, me and my family would fly to New Zealand and meet the cousins and remind ourselves that our family, who they are and what their names are, because we lived in Canada with nobody other than our immediate mom and dad and my 2 sisters. Anyway, summer to summer, that's my grandmother. And then at the age of 23, after graduating uni, after getting malaria in Central America, in Guyana, at the age of 19, anyway, I decided to go and discover my heritage and go to New Zealand. And where do I go? Timaru. Well, where else would you go from Toronto?
Oh my God.
The love capital of New Zealand. And guess what? Timaru is where my grandmother got married. Ironically,
wow.
It's where I met my future husband.
It is the love capital.
It
Check
is.
it out.
It is the love capital of New Zealand.
Oh my God,
And then the crazy thing is, after that, working at Outward Bound, living in Marlborough Sounds, Christchurch, earthquake. People know that story maybe. I ended up in Auckland. Where did I end up? In Meadowbank, right beside Kohimarama.
Get
I just
out.
crazy, right?
It is crazy.
Is your grandma still alive now?
She's not. When my daughter was 6 months old, she was quite sick, and she lived in Queenstown, and I used to go down and live with her in the summer, which was so fun. But anyway, she was in hospital in Invercargill, and I jumped on a plane with my 6-month-old, and I went down and saw her. And that was the last time, and my daughter's now 11, so yeah.
Our daughters have the same names, right? Mm-hmm. Ruby, Nat. Same.
Now, just quickly, for those who are watching, you guys can jump on and comment and ask us any questions. You can ask Nat any questions. Don't forget, this is interactive.
I love questions.
Or Nat T or Nat CW, as I call them. It gets quite confusing when you have so many Nats around you. Ask the questions and we'll get to you. And if you are watching on the replay, you can ask as well, and we'll be jumping in to answer those as well.
So Nat, from coffee groups in your house talking about how to do Pinterest, I'd love for you to take us on the journey, because you have been on a journey. So even like your card here, there's like a list, and this doesn't even include everything you do. I'd like you to talk into that, and then I'm going to ask some questions around that. I'm so bossy.
I have 3 different cards. This is just one of them. So I have 3 businesses. They're all overarching. In fact, I just bought this really cool thing from my lounge, because I'm getting my lounge designed really nicely. And it's like the Olympic rings. And I'm like, that's my business. Those are my businesses. They actually all relate. And I think the tweaking and pivoting, what I always say to people is stay in the zone of love. Stay in the zone of love. Like in your business, if you don't love what you're doing, frickin' change it, right? Like just change direction. I don't mean 180, but I mean like a subtle tweak. Follow, do what you want. Everyone knows, or you've probably heard me speak a lot about do what you want. And I'm so obsessed with getting people to reconnect with what they actually want to be doing in their daily life and in their business. And you can see on the back of my card, there's even homework. It says, helping you do what you want, one thing I'm going to do, ditch, and delegate. So when I give people this card, hopefully they're going to keep it, because they're going to write their homework and refer back to it. So I think a lot of the tweaking for me was like, you know what? I had someone the other day, this really amazing speaker, and he was giving me a mentoring session, and he said, you know what? If you'd stuck with your podcast, you would have done like 300-400 episodes by now, and you would have been huge. And I'm like, I just didn't love it anymore.
Yeah.
He's like, but why didn't you just keep doing it? I'm like, I just told you. I just didn't love it anymore. Like, and if you don't love it, don't do it. And I don't mean give up. I just mean if it's not bringing you joy and it becomes really hard work.
Yeah.
And podcasts are a lot of work. And hey, those episodes are out there. 100 episodes on parenting. If only they'd told me. I think 100 episodes on Go-To Girl business podcast. They're out there. People can get them. They're free anytime. I'm good. I'm heading in a new direction.
Can you take us though from Nat on the stage at networking to podcast, Nat? Then keep us going through your journey.
So I started out with the social media networking thing, because that's what I had to offer, and connecting people who just needed to know each other. That's what I still do. That's what I'm always going to do. It's because I can't help myself. I'm obsessed with connecting people. But I basically went from teaching people how to use social media and then coaching clients around their businesses, speaking about social media. And I guess that was fine, and it's great to give people content, education, and tips, but I never had that thrill at the end of speaking where people were like, oh my God, wow, you really changed my life. Like, I was kind of changing their lives, but I always wanted to have more impact.
Yeah.
And, oh God, without diving too deep, my background is actually international development, which is like third world studies. So I've always had this obsession with saving the world.
But that's cool because for me, who's known you
might know that.
No, and I'm like, where does the obsession come from?
Okay, so the obsession comes from healthy, wealthy white girl in Toronto with a dad who's a doctor, right? So my dad was a surgeon, went to Toronto to train for 5 years. They stayed for 35 years as a result. Here, me and my sisters sound like this. Great upbringing. And I kind of, some people go, oh, so you like feel guilty that like your life was easy. I'm like, I don't think it's guilt. I think it's opportunity. I think it's me going, you know what? I had health and wealth and whatever, opportunity and loving parents and a hot meal on the table and a mom who baked brownies and was waiting for me after school and whatever. And I'm like, who am I not to do everything in my power to make life better for other people? Like, I don't think that's guilt.
You think that's freaking
I don't think that's guilt. So anyway, I went to, I studied third world, development. I went to Guyana. I wanted to save the world. I'm not a farmer. I'm not a doctor. I felt stupid. And it's funny that, and we'll get to this, but many, many years later, 25 years later, now I am helping people in third world countries in a different way. So that's pretty cool. I did my master's in environmental education, so I also am quite a nerd. Like, I've done 9 years of academic study.
You're a hot nerd.
I'm a hot nerd. Yeah, it's really hot under these lights. Anyway, so I've done, I really was ecologically, environmentally, I'm an eco-warrior as well, like a trailblazer or whatever, but and that is where I got my background in speaking, politically. I stood for the Green Party. I stood against some of the candidates you see in politics today. And I was quite high on the list for someone that was new. And I didn't get in. And then I had a baby. And then I thought, thank God I did not get in. But that's a whole other topic. But seriously, I'm so glad I didn't get in.
But what I love about the topic, and you going deep into that story, though, I think that's really important is, you know how sometimes people can put other women in business on a pedestal. As soon as you drop into that zone of, I felt like this, I wanted to do this, then we understand your journey, and then it helps other people see that it's okay that they're on their journey. Do you know what I mean?
I totally know what you mean. And I think also, if people don't know the backstory, they might see, oh, there you are again getting interviewed or speaking on a stage, and it's like, I am an expressive. That's my personality type.
Are you?
Yeah, really. I'm an expressive driver. I love to talk. I love to interview people, and I love to make things happen and get things done. So that makes sense. But I think I do want to help people through my voice, but I want to help other people to use their voice too.
And that's actually something I really admire you with, is that because you have a lot going on, like even though it's the Olympic rings and all, it's overarching. What I like about you is that you're trailblazing in the sense that it's okay that someone might have 3 different things happening, and you're going to help them find the overarch or the pulling in, which I think is actually the way that online business is going and business women.
Actually, at the Unfiltered event yesterday, one of the terms they talked about is, the times are changing, and in the future, it's a multi-gig economy. And what they meant is, the days of people having the same job for 30 years are so gone.
So gone, totally.
So, everyone's going to have, not something on the side in terms of another job, but there are a couple of things going on, and that's okay. And you don't just have to stick with one path and keep going because you said you would and you've done all the training. It's no, do what you want. If you're pulled to some other thing,
you represent that, babe, because you're the trailblazer who's done that. And actually,
it's okay to do that, guys. You can do that.
So how would you feel? What would you say to someone who has been doing their business and they want to sort of pivot into something else? Because a lot of people, especially people who we've had on the show before, not on the show, but questions about being fearful of doing it, or fearful of, I've just built this brand, how do I move? So what sort of tips, because you've done that so well so many times, how do you what would you say to them?
I think part of it is, in order to have the strength and courage to pivot, you do need to have a strong sense of urgency. So, okay, yes, healthy, wealthy background, yes, but we were about to go to my 20th high school reunion, Canada. I have not been back to Canada since 2002. Mainly money, also time and away from kids and childcare and all that stuff. But anyway, ever since moving after the earthquake to Auckland, it's been hard financially. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have a strong sense of urgency. Like, I know that with what my husband earns, I need to make $4,000 a month to pay the bills. Not with, right, just to pay our credit cards. So I have a strong sense of urgency. So it's like, if I'm not making enough money doing one thing, I'm like, boom, I'll create a program. Boom, I'll do another event. Like, so I feel like sometimes, maybe not, but for some women, they think, I want to tweak and pivot, but I don't know. What will people think? I'm not really sure. I didn't do what will people think. I'm like, I need to make this happen, either for money or lifestyle. And I can talk about me standing at the door of abundance and taking door number 2.
Talk about that, because that was just, we were like, what are you doing? But
I love this show because we have so much time. Normally, I only have 4 minutes to talk.
Yeah. Oh, no, cool. And then we've got a question, but talk about door number 2.
I don't know where I'm supposed to look, so I'm just looking at you guys.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Hey, dude. Okay, cool. So, standing at the door of abundance, and so I feel like everyone in their business, you know, like you guys talk about the early stages, it's so exciting, it's so new, and then you go like reality check, like this is hard. Like, oh my God, I have no boundaries. I'm answering emails at 10 o'clock, all that stuff. But anyway, I finally got my business to the point where my husband could retire, right? Sorry, resign, not retire. Resign from a job that was slowly killing him, right? This was like 3 years ago. You guys remember me talking about it. And that was amazing. So we were at the door of abundance, meaning, oh my gosh, I was making good money. He was also on a good salary. We were at the door of abundance. But you know what? His job was slowly killing him. And it's like, if we'd kept going. So anyway, it was an opportunity for him to leave his job, spend 3 or it ended up being 6 months at home with our youngest before he went to school. Brilliant, right? So we were at this door of abundance, and I took door number 2, right? A few years later, I'm coaching. I have like 11 clients, you know, whatever, really good money. Again, door of abundance, you know? And then I'm like, I think I'll start doing some essential oils and totally like change tack and like not get back to where I was for another 2 years, you know? It's like, what? So sometimes I chose door number 2 again, not intentionally, but with a little bit of a plan and a little bit of like just like trust. And I'm not big on trust, meaning I'm very control freaky, not trust. I don't trust. Yeah, I don't trust.
We're going in there. I'm like, what's that about?
So I'm like, I'm just gonna like go with it and allow things to happen, which is so not my style. I'm a make things happen girl, right? And I was like, I don't know why, but I think I need to go down this road of wellness. And then guess what? A year later, my son loses all his hair.
Yeah.
And he's bald, and I'm like, and it's not that the oils are going to help him grow his hair back, but they're going to help me when I'm crying in the corner and feeling guilty about, you know, rolling the forgive oil on my hand, and I couldn't even talk about it for 6 months without crying, you know. So now I'm good. I'm good. Yeah. So it's a journey, and that's what I mean. Like sometimes you have a plan, and maybe you want to tweak or pivot. I'm coming back to your question. But I think just have the courage, and if you're quite clear on what you want, and I keep touching my heart because I don't mean what you want, like I want to go on a cruise, I want a new couch, yeah, I want those things too, I want a hot tub, yes, I want to go to Canada, yes, but I mean, what do you want in your heart? What do you actually want to be doing day to day, and what do you want to be achieving in terms of the impact on the world on a wider level?
And I think, and actually, Pips, right, who's watching tonight, is it something that we love about and you admire about you? So thank you for being that trailblazer who's like, I'm just going to take door number 2, guys. And we're like, what is she doing? She's taking door number 2. You know, and it is, it's women like yourself who we continue to question ourselves, and you inspire us to maybe look out of that status quo. But I'm really pleased that you touched on that trust thing, because it's a big thing when you're controlling.
But it's also something like like for me as well, like you work so hard, I'm quite focused. When I decide, I'm going to do that, that's all I focus on. And then you get to there and then you look around and you're like, okay, so not happy with, you know, I've done that now. Well, what can I do next? You know, and you feel like you have to stay there because you've been working so hard for that goal.
But do you find that you move the goalpost? Is that why you're not happy, or what?
I don't know. I just get. I'm such a. Why are we? I'm just such a achiever of certain things. Oh, I've never done that before. Oh, I'll see if I can do that. And then I get there, and then I'm like, okay, done that now. I don't know. Does anyone else feel like that, or is it just me? Because sometimes I feel like, you know, like I'll say today, I'm doing this, and then I like, right, let's go. I'm gonna do this and get there, and then I fill up, and I've done it. And then I do it for a certain amount of time, and then I'm like, okay.
Well, is it bored? Like, so I'm the same, because
I
I'm
think
like,
so.
okay, this is fun, but now onto something new and shiny.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just like,
It's the creative brain.
I think it is.
It's our creative
we get
brains.
bored.
And as soon as a client says to me, now I need to stop the creative brain, I'm like, hell no, we embrace your creative brain. You can't stop you in who you are. So I think...
and it's a challenge. Like,
totally.
I'm like, especially if someone says, you can't do that. And then I'm like, oh, show
Hey, so
you.
we've got some questions, team.
Yes,
So from Donna. Hey, Donna. Donna's going to be a guest on the show. She doesn't... you do know that. Donna's going to be a guest. Anyway, Donna would like to know, Nat, where do you see... You always ask this question, Donna. You love this question. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Actually, this
Sarah
is...
Burrows. See you and your baby. I hope you have my book. It'll keep you...
Her baby is adorable.
Keep the love alive.
So Donna's like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I.e., what new businesses do you want to start?
Okay. Wow.
God, there's going to be like 6 businesses in the time in 5 years. We all know that.
So the interesting thing, let's go back to the Olympic rings. This was not my intention, but this is what has evolved, and you guys have heard pieces of this over time. So some of you might know. So at the moment, I am on a mission to save 1 million marriages.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And to help halve the suicide rate in New Zealand. Okay, those are 2 separate things, but they actually overlap, and just like my Olympic rings. That's not what I started out doing 6 years ago. It's kind of what's bubbled up, you know? Like, so saving 1 million marriages, yes, completely the reason I started writing my book when my son was 5 months old, and, you know, our friend walked out on his wife with 2 young kids, and I was like, how can that happen? And then I was like, actually, like, I can totally see how that would happen, you know? Like, oh my God, it's hard, right? So the whole love thing is really big for me. And so saving 1 million marriages, I don't want to do it alone, but I really want to couple and partner and collaborate with other people that are doing stuff in that space. Like, I did a business beach walk. I came home and I said to my husband, so I met with a divorce coach this morning. And he's like, uh-huh. I'm like, no, it's not what you think. It's to help with my goal of saving 1 million marriages, right? So I want to collaborate with other people, which is what I do, and connect people for that common goal. And so obviously, to answer your question, Donna, is like something around, it's not really a business, but something that has to be aligned with that goal. And I have to say, sometimes the best thing for a marriage is divorce, so I'm not saying everyone has to be married. Okay, and then something around the depression, anxiety, overwhelmed situation that I see going on. And obviously, New Zealand has a ridiculous suicide rate, imprisonment rate, pee addiction, you name it, we've got it. And remember, I'm 100% Kiwi by blood.
Yeah.
And so that's why I say we, and I'm not going to you guys. So I feel like, I don't know if it's businesses, but definitely wanting to support causes that are helping with those 2 goals. And partnering with people and pouring dollars into things that help with those 2 goals. And those are far and wide, because there's lots of pieces of the puzzle.
So actually, Donna asked a question before that, and I just remembered it. It's actually a really good one. She wants to know what your elevator pitch is, because you have a few things happening. And how do you not confuse people, Nat?
I know, no kidding. I confuse myself. One of my favorite podcasts to listen to is Jamie Tardy, the eventual millionaire. And she interviewed someone, and she talked about, make sure your 60-second spiel passes the eyebrow test, right? So when
what's
you
that?
say it, we're going to zoom in here. No, when you say what you do or how you help people, it needs to pass the eyebrow test, where people need to go, like, oh, wow, like, isn't that interesting with their eyebrows, right?
Okay.
If they go like, oh, I'm so bored right now, then it doesn't pass. So
that's good.
So I'll tell you what doesn't work is me. This is what I used to be like. Oh, hey, I'm Natalie. I'm the go-to girl. I run networking events for women entrepreneurs, and I coach people. And
my eyebrows haven't gone up.
Yeah, I know. It's like, and I haven't even finished. I'm only like, starting. Right. So now, ask me again. So how do you help people? Or what do you do?
So how do you help people, Nat?
I help people do what they want.
Oh, see, my eyebrow went up.
Like straight away, eyebrows to the sky. So I'm kind of, for you, Donna, I'm kind of toying with my response these days, because sometimes I literally say, I help people do what they want. That's all I say, right?
Yeah.
And then they go, like, what do you mean by that? I'm like, well, if someone says I want to run a marathon, I'm like, oh, I know someone who coaches people on how to run marathons. Do you want me to connect you? Because that's what I do at Connect People.
Yeah, so connect.
Or if they go, oh my gosh, I am so struggling in business right now. I just can't figure out like what to do next, and everything needs to be perfect. I'm like, you should talk to Nat T, because she's the coach for imperfect action. Like, let me totally hook you up. I'm like, just hit me with what you got. Like, what do you want? What do you want? And if they go, I don't know what I want, I'm like, oh, I love that question. And I go, follow the fire. And they go, what? Eyebrow test again. I go, you just need to follow the fire. What do you get so excited about? Or what do you get so effing frustrated by? That's where you need to spend your time and energy. That's going to make you someone that cares about your business, or if you're a speaker, what you're speaking about on stage. Like, I used to speak about Facebook and Pinterest, and did people come up to me and go, that was amazing? Not really. They were like, that was helpful, cool, thanks for the tips, see ya. But now I speak about resilience, and I speak about self-care, but I speak about like give, get, and looking after number one. And that's not selfish, that's just smart. And so those types of topics, and I talk about keeping the love alive, and I talk about upping your brave and doing what you want. And that's my big thing. The key to happiness, ladies and gentlemen, underneath it all, when you peel back the onion every single time, you know what? Say what you want and then just go do it. Honestly.
It's so good.
Peel back the onion. It's always do what you want.
You need to bring out a
book. When people are so frustrated, it's because they're not doing what they want. When they're angry, it's because they're not. When hubby hates his job, it's because he's not doing what he wants.
Yeah.
Etc.
Nat, you need to bring out a book of the bumper sticker, the cliches, the sayings, the Nat sayings.
I'm going to bring out a tip book. Watch this space.
Oh, you heard it here. You heard it here, people. There was another question, but because it's on live rolling, the questions have gone down too fast because you're all chatting, which is great. So if I haven't hit your question, please rewrite it out, because I know there was another question in there. So back to you, Nat, now. Where did we leave off?
I was talking about the businesses I'm going to create, but if anyone can help me with those two missions, please message or contact me, because that's what I want to do. And the money will flow. Do you know what I mean? The money will just flow.
Well, you've had amazing evidence of abundance, and I think that's a really nice point to touch on, is that when you actually have had abundance from whatever avenue, whether it's your job or whatever, anything else, is that I always tell my women is that if you've had it before, guess what? You can have it again. It's just the trusting that it's going to come through another avenue. Can we talk about the trust?
Sure.
Let's peel back the onion.
Coach me.
No, I think the reason why we always go into these points is to show the other women you're real, that what you feel, they are feeling, and it's normal. My mission is, I think, is to normalize everything. That what you're feeling is normal. So I think if someone hears you go, oh my God, Nat CW just said she's got a problem with trust, so do I, boom, you straight away just have helped someone. So is it just because you like to control, or you don't trust yourself? Like, what do you think it is?
I think, so I'm just hiring a PA, which is monumental for me.
I
like to do 1,000 things, and it's not that I like to take credit for everything, but I'm just like, I'll just do it myself. It's just quicker for me to do it. Like, even though I talk about ditching and delegating, right? But I tend to not be amazing at it, right? I'm more of a doer. I'm more of a get things done, JFDI person, which has a swear word in it, which is why I'm doing the acronym.
You're on our show. You're fine.
I know, but it's my thing.
Yeah.
So I think sometimes now you get to the point where I am barricading myself here. Like, I have a stack of people to follow up with that's just not getting done. Because I'm not doing it. Because you have every day you prioritize. You as I say, triage your to-do list. The to-do list never ends. We all know that. And I've just got this stuff sitting there, these opportunities, these people that want help, and I'm like, I just haven't got around to answering them individually, right? So I'm going to bring people in to help me, which is so exciting. Yeah.
I have a question, but do you have a question?
No, you
I don't want to keep going.
No, I'm interesting. I mean, it's interesting that as business owners, it is hard to give up stuff to other people. I mean,
totally. It's
especially in the beginning, you just it is faster to do it yourself because you like it, or you know how to do stuff, and it can be kind of overwhelming to trust someone else to look after your baby.
You've also got this far actually by doing a lot of the stuff yourself.
Yeah.
You know, and I think it's really nice for people to hear as we do talk about you must delegate and get a PA, VA. Well, actually, you can actually do a lot of it yourself if you like doing 1,000 things, and if you're efficient doing 1,000 things, if you don't get stressed out about it. So what I'd love to touch on, Nat, is I think something that, again, you've trailblazed, and especially for Kiwi market, and anyone can disagree with what I'm about to say, you've now hit into this huge abundance with the multi-level marketing business, doTERRA oils, that you kind of just stuck into the business, and we were like, what are you doing there? And I know that as Kiwis now the wave has changed. A lot of more Kiwis are open to multi-level marketing. We're not so like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So we talk about it, Nat, because it's something amazing.
Yeah. So ever since I started Go To Girl, I have had every man and his dog ask me to join their thing or sell their juice or skincare, right? And I have never been interested at all. But I was at the point where I was making really good money, but everything needed me to do it. And it comes back to that trust a little bit. Speaking, running my own events and coaching. And if I got laryngitis, or if I just wanted to have 2 weeks off, I wouldn't make money. And I was like, that's not very smart or strategic. It's not leveraged. And so part of me was coming intellectually going, okay, well, I think it would be smart to just have a bit more residual income. Why? Because I'm a workaholic, right?
Yeah.
Why? Because I love what I'm doing, but I'm not very good with boundaries. And and what is my goal? My goal is to be present with my children. To actually, when I'm with them, to actually be with them in spirit and mind and not secretly texting or trying to email while I'm, And they're like, let's watch a movie together. And I've got my laptop on my knee, right? I mean, who else does that? Everybody, right? I know. So I wanted to not do that anymore. And for me, I am money motivated. I do love money. I do know what it's like to lie in bed at night and add up the money and have an anxious tummy and move money around to pay credit cards. I don't have any debt, but I know what it's like to move money around and have that stress. And I'm like, I just felt like if I had money coming in, it would allow me, I don't relax easily. It would allow me to kind of chill out a little bit. So it was part strategic and part just timing, right? That one of my clients who was, I was helping her to connect and whatever, doing what I do. She was the number one in New Zealand with the doTERRA essential oils. And I was like, what are these? These are awesome. And I do what most women do. I wanted to help everyone else first, right? I was like, oh my God. These would be amazing for my, overwhelmed mothers with my if only they'd told me audience. And these would be so good for my overworked entrepreneurs with Go To Girl. So I wanted to serve everyone else, of course. And then, of course, I started using them because I was like, oh my God, I'm such a go-getter in the morning. Peppermint in one hand, wild orange in the other for abundance. So now I'm awake from the peppermint and I'm happy about it and I'm ready to go. So I started using them for me. That 3 seconds of time for me or whatever before going to make a school lunch or anything. And that was fine. But a year later, right, my boy loses his hair and I'm emotionally a mess. And that's when the emotional oils became something that I wasn't just thinking of it from a strategic, money earning, helping saving other people's perspective. Because I love all the positive side of the essential oils and giving back to the local communities where they're grown. All that, tick, tick, tick. But now it was about, they were actually helping me get through and helping me get by when at a time that was really sad and confusing for my family, especially when my husband did not understand why I was so upset. His hair is either going to grow back or it's not.
Men are interesting.
Why are you so upset? And I'm like... there you go.
So just going back into that, I think it's, again, when you went into doTERRA, Nat, it was so new to the country. And you were your first goal was I want to be the first founder in New Zealand. You've got this theme in your life of trailblazing, doing something new. So
I don't know if I was going to be the first founder. So back to the Olympic rings.
What are the 4 or something?
Back to the Olympic rings. My dad is a Kiwi Olympian. So that might explain something.
Wow.
So he won
the drive.
He won the Commonwealth Games, and then he competed in the Olympics in Mexico in '68. So his sport is the steeplechase, where you run, you keep going, and you go over hurdles and through water. Does that explain anything to you?
Oh, that's you.
Right? And he's very opinionated, and he just gets things done, and he says what he wants, and he just, right?
He'd be great at multi-level marketing.
Yeah. The funny thing is, he's so not into it. Yeah. And I had a little bit of a slump in my business last July when I went home to visit, and he's all like, what is this? Having a bit of a tanty, showing me some article about multi-level marketing. Right. And I'm like, okay, first of all, Dad, that article is from 2013. And last time I checked, and I get all sassy. I'm like, last time I checked, it was 2017. So just so you know, and this is me talking to my dad, right? He's met his match. Anyway, so point being, I come from an Olympian family, right? We are go-getters and I guess trailblazers. But at the time, I think I said, there were these 10 spots open to be founders in New Zealand, and you had to get to this level of being a gold and maintain that level. And anyway, so I'm not the first founder. I'm one of the founders. I think I squeaked in at the end.
One of the 10.
Number 8.
Seriously,
number 7,
that's so
right?
amazing.
Anyway, yeah, cool. But I have to mention, so here's the thing. I do not relax easily. Remember, I do not trust, people to do stuff for me. This is major for me. But you know what I love? Yeah. Mentoring people, inspiring people, motivating them. And guess what I get to do now? I've got a team of probably 12 or 13 builders. I've got 1,800 customers and builders on my team, on my wider team. But I don't have to do it by myself.
Yeah, that's nice for you.
It's pretty monumental.
Because you used to do your networking events by yourself.
Yeah, like lugging wine bottles and grocery bags.
This is so good for you.
I know. And remember, I've had a few back injuries. Yes. I've had a few medical problems.
How's that been your back now that you've got help and you're not doing it alone?
Yeah, I know. I need to self-care. You need to look after yourself.
Yeah.
So, for me, knowing that I'm sitting here talking to you guys while some of my ladies are talking to other people about oils, helping those people with their wellness while earning themselves and myself money, I'm a happy girl. I love that. Anyway, one of the things they said at Unfiltered was everyone multi-gig economy, right? You'd have a few things going on. And when I spoke at the Global Speakers Summit in February here in Auckland, which was a massive 4-day event, and Siri, Karen Jacobson, who's the voice of Siri, the GPS girl.
How cool, you got to meet Siri.
Yeah, well, she came to town, and I said to her, I messaged her and said, hey, listen, do you want me to get you on TV? Because I'm sure the AM show or the breakfast show would love to interview you. And then I'm going, who am I going to give it to, AM or breakfast? Anyway, so we got her on the AM show. Afterwards, we met for coffee, and we got talking, and I said something about doTERRA, and she goes, every smart woman should have some form of residual income. And I'm like, what are you doing? She goes, I do Arbonne. I'm like, I do doTERRA. Yeah. And I really think some form of residual income, it does not need to be MLM, which is multi-level marketing. It can be, you have, some courses, like electronic courses or an ebook, or you're part of some...
affiliate.
Yeah, affiliate program, just something that means you don't have to be dollars per hour, you don't have to be the one delivering it. If you got laryngitis or something like that. Like a lot of my women, they're massage therapists. It's like, what happens if you get carpal tunnel syndrome or you can't work? It's like, this is your insurance policy. We do not know what's going to happen in the future with the economy, with jobs, with your marriage, with things that your kids are going to need, more money you're going to need because of health problems. Who knows? I think having some residual income is really smart. And for me, it does, to a certain extent, allow me to relax just a little.
That's what's nice about you, though, is that you're not trying to... It's funny, you and I are similar like that, like the workaholic, and even you, people are like, Nat, do you ever stop? I'm like, it would be a form of torture to make me stop. Do you know, because I love what I do. So it doesn't mean we go all the time. It might be reflecting or journaling or thinking about something. But I think that if you are a creative, if you are driven, it's actually okay, to be like that. So I appreciate you taking us to those.
But at the same time, don't try to be like that if it's not your thing.
No, man. Yeah. You can't. It's actually funny because some people are like, I can't remember who I was saying this to, but I couldn't do this show every week like we do it if I wasn't me right now all of the time.
Yeah.
Man, that would be fucking tiring to show up each time when you're with different people, with different things, being someone you're not. I just don't even... So you're right. That's my long-winded way of going, do what you love and...
say what you want.
Thank you. Pay, have you got any questions coming in your end?
No, I think it's really good that you're sort of paving the way to this whole, MLM. I am saying it right.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't understand it, and a lot of people are fearful of it. And there's the old ways of how people used to recruit and stuff like that. They don't understand that it's a whole new way of marketing and selling and relationship building. I think, how do you fight that with, how do you overcome people who have those stereotypes, images of how they think it should be or what they had in the past?
Well, sometimes I just say, it's like instead of a TV ad or a billboard, the companies pay us a commission, and because it's an education-based business, we can't just put up a sign that says On Guard, helps you with coughs and colds in the winter. I mean, you could say that, but I'm just saying it needs a bit more explaining and for people to actually experience, smell them and breathe them in. It's not just about the smell, obviously. It's not like perfume. There's amazing benefits, but it's an education-based product. So there is that kind of interaction. And I do classes and consults and things. I love one-on-one consults. And it's I literally say, so what's going on for you? And they go, oh my God, my husband is so grumpy. And I write down grumpy husband. what else? You know, it's just like business coaching. And then they go, oh, and I've got this really sore knee. Like, it's real niggly. And I go, niggly knee. You know, I'm like, what else? And we just do the what else. We peel back the onion. And I go, awesome. Okay, well, based on what you said, you know, for your grumpy husband, I'd be recommending, you know, peppermint or grapefruit. If we're talking like feelings of anxiousness, I'm not allowed to name diseases or anything. Then we'd be looking at the Lifelong Vitality supplement range or probably frankincense. For the knee, we'd be looking at deep blue muscle rub, but I would layer that with lemongrass if it's joint pain. You know, and I kind of do that, which I love because, you know, I love figuring out what do you want? Oh, well, I want my husband to not be grumpy. I want my knee to be like healthy and mobile. Awesome. Let me help you with that. And if I can't help you, I'll send you to someone who can, because guess what? I'm the go-to girl, and I can help you.
Just a question then. You know, sometimes that you do see that people think that I'm going to go and do eyebrow or whatever it is, that they think it's an easier way to do business. Yeah. I'd love your opinion on that.
I don't think any business is easy. I think it is not a long road, but it's certainly not like a quick way. I mean, this has taken me 2.5 years. I'm at the rank of diamond.
And you're the go-to girl, and it's taken you 2.5 years.
And I did have a network, and most of my team are my not ex-clients, but, you know, they were there and he knew me, right? And I know them, and they're amazing. And, you know, and now, like I said, I'm back to where I was financially, but the exponential potential is ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? Whereas if I was just coaching, just speaking, and running events, like the graph, you know, it's like the and guess what? It's not about the money. It's about what the money can allow you to do, be, and have. Because remember what I'm doing? Saving 1 million marriages and helping to halve the suicide rate in New Zealand. That takes money going into the right places.
Right, so that's why you're getting the money to help do that part that you want to do.
So not only are the oils helping with people to like process their emotions, like actually deal with the angst of everyday life, which is pretty massive. There's so much, you know, stress around. Yeah. But also, you know, the money that I can not only going into the other good countries, the things that they're doing, but also I can donate. Like one of my other goals is I used to work at Outward Bound. I used to teach people rock climbing and kayaking, and I used to be a multi-sport athlete. I did the Southern Traverse, whatever, right? I actually would love to send a student to Outward Bound, you know, 4 or 5 students a year. Now that's going to cost whatever, 15 grand. Awesome. Because guess what? I think if every student or every person did Outward Bound, which uses the outdoors as a medium to grow confidence and personal development, I feel like they would have more self-belief. They would have more resilience. What do I think the world needs more? Resilience. Especially in this day and age of social media. So here we come full circle back to go-to girl, social media and networking. It's like there's a blessing and a curse, but it's a tricky time for people to grow up in, judging their life by the news feed. I feel like they need more resilience. They need to know what they stand for, and they need to know what they want.
I think what's really nice for you is if you guys are watching and you're someone who's highly creative, which means you're an entrepreneur, and that you're going on this journey, that don't deny the journey. I think that Nat's a really amazing representation of, you know, trusting, giving it a go, thinking, I want to do this because it feels right, and doing it.
I don't know where I'm going.
I don't know where I'm going. Does anyone know where they're going?
No.
You know, and I think because social media shows us or puts it out there, and you know, guys know that I stand for this about social media highlight reels. They drive me crazy. It's not the shoulds. Like, Nat, you haven't done what you should do and all the suppose and, you know, doing it the traditional way. You've really mixed it up, and I think that it's really cool to have shown the guys this. You're all trying to look at my questions.
Yeah, keep talking.
Sorry, just that you're all like... but has anyone got any other questions? Because I know that Nat has got some amazing tips. So...
I mean, Sarah just said something about not wanting to be a multi-level marketer. I'm pretty sure this with the stats, like 80% of at least our customers, like they're just customers. You know what I mean? They're just customers. That's all they are. They're not doing anything else about it. So yeah, I think that's for people to realize if you want to, and there's many other companies to choose from. This is just the one I've chosen. You can just be a customer.
Yeah, or you can just buy the oil.
Yeah, exactly. Or you can make it part of your business. So,
but I really like it how you've just said though that. Because you might choose direct sales or multi-level marketing and you think, yes, I'm going to go into business, and I love that you back that up, that it's still, you still have to go on the journey. You still have to do the work. It's not like I still think that people think it's an easy, I'm just going to go do this and it's going to give me, you know, go to sleep and I'm going to make money in my sleep. Well, you still have to do the work.
You always have to do the work. You always have to show up, and there's always that roller coaster, whatever industry people are in. If you're a graphic designer, a physical trainer, anything else, there's always days when you're like, what am I doing? Or what was I thinking? And looking through, I know people looking through the job ads and questioning their path, of course. And the other thing is I would have got to where I am with the oils a lot quicker if I'd thrown Go-To Girl in. But I didn't want to. I was like, I still want to work with people, but what I did is I pivoted. I niched. Instead of being women in business, I went speakers.
Great.
Right? So
great pivot into speakers.
Yeah.
Tell us about your speakers.
Well, that was the thing for me. I was like, hey, hang on a second. I really want to help people who want to be seen and heard on a bigger level so they can have a bigger impact on the world. Hey, wait a minute.
Hey, that's you.
That's me.
Oh, my
wait
God.
a minute. I'm my ideal client. Whoa, right? What they say is true. So it really was amazing because then when you say, I work with speakers, it allows people to self-identify, go, oh, that's me. Yeah. I'm either an experienced speaker or I'm an aspiring speaker. Like I would love to speak on stages or on screen, right? It doesn't necessarily mean in front of X number of people. But this year I spoke in front of 4,500 people.
About that.
So 4,500 people, and I was like this big on the stage.
You can't use the old theory of just imagine 4,000 people are naked, right?
Yeah.
So what do I look?
Yeah, exactly.
So what did you do?
Well, I rocked it out.
Of course you did.
And I finished 4 minutes early. I had 20 minutes, and I finished it like 16 minutes. So what I'm saying is whether you want to speak to a big audience or like literally a room full of 5 people or anything in between, I mean, obviously those are different skills, but I'm saying not everyone wants to be on TV or on video or on stages, but if people feel like they've got a message to share or they've got either knowledge or a story or motivation that just needs to come out, I love helping them do that. Whether it be stage, screen, or TV.
So Donna's just like, I want to join your speakers group. Tell us about your speakers group.
Okay, cool, sure. So, so I've got 2 things going on with the speakers, okay? So last year I closed down my Go-To Girl membership because I didn't want to do it anymore.
No, that's cool.
Because it was too much work and I didn't want to do too many things. So I closed that down. And what I did instead is I started something called Amplify. And I have done 2 rounds of Amplify. It's starting again in June. And it's basically a 12-week program for speakers. I'm only taking 5. They're usually women. I've had 1 man before, but women. I'm 5 people that want to really get that wraparound. Like, what do I say? What do I wear? What is my key points? What is my upsell? I mean, they'll have some of the pieces of the puzzle, but what I found is people don't have all the pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
And then when they get the speaking opportunity, I say get the gig and rock the gig. That's how I talk. But when they get the speaking opportunity, one of my girls just got... she's going on the long lunch with Wendell Nissen, right? And I'm like, awesome. So let's talk about how long do you have? What are you going to wear? Even though it's radio, guess what? These days we're going to take photos. We're going to Facebook Live it. What are you going to wear? What are your 3 key points? What is your call to action? Can you find out if you're allowed to pitch your program or your whatever? Like, so there's so much to think about and to prepare for. And then after the fact, how are you going to repurpose that? What are you going to do with that? How are you going to leverage that? And that's the stuff I love. So I'm bringing in all my Go-To Girl geekiness and I'm mixing it in with like my Canadian extroverted, like tall poppy, whatever, and just helping people to get the message out. But only women that are doing something that has a positive impact on the world. Okay. Those are the women I want to shine the light on. So that's called Amplify. And then the other thing I'm doing is the Speaker Success event, but it's next week. It's in Auckland next week.
Next week, team, if you're in Auckland, check it out. What we'll get you to do now is after the show, pop up any links you want to put in these threads. I would love to know, you can either sing this if you want, because Nat's a bit of a singer. Singing. But would love for you to give your top 5 tips to businesswomen in any areas that you want to touch on tonight.
Okay. Self-care is number 1. And I suck at self-care, so this is pretty rich coming from me. Self-care is number 1, and what I mean by that is, the give, give, get that I sometimes talk about. If all you do is give, give, give to everybody else, your time, your energy, your love, your money, you're not going to be in business. Newsflash. So you need to look after number 1. And one of the things I talk about is, and what really that comes back to, doing what you want, reconnecting with what you want to do in the big picture, but also in the micro moments of every day. Okay, so we could spend a whole hour talking about self-care, but that's self-care. Stay in the zone of love, okay? So again, revisiting, what are you doing? You don't have to do what you've always done or do what you said you would do or think you should do. Like, ditch that and reconnect with, what lights your fire. And so my other phrase is stay in the zone of love, in brackets, follow the fire. Remember I said whatever gets you so excited. So this is me, working with speakers. Oh my God, so
you can
excited,
tell you like that.
right? And then, or what gets you so effing frustrated, that's me going, come on, New Zealand, are you kidding me with the suicide rate? Like, that is not acceptable, and I'm going to make a change, right? So that's what I mean. So whatever you're doing, make sure that you're following the fire. And I'm like, fire in your belly is what I'm talking about. What number are we on?
3.
Okay, golly. They all kind of blend together. So juggle the mother load. I guess the other thing I suck at is having boundaries. And so what I did a few terms ago is I said, okay, kids, I'm not going to be on the phone or computer between 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock. And they were like, right? Huh? And I was like, no, seriously, I'm going to, So I think you need to set boundaries in place, firm boundaries, in order to be able to juggle the mother load of running a business while raising a family, while keeping the love alive, while not losing yourself in the process. And so what I mean by that is really have firm boundaries. And it might be you going, okay, I know my client's ringing, but it's 9:30 at night, and I am not picking up that phone. Like you have to have some rules.
Who calls someone at 9 at night? If that is you, stop it.
Stop doing that. So don't make it okay by answering the phone or answering the email. So again, that's something I'm always reminding myself. Pivot. Like pivot and tweet. Pivot.
You hit it here
PVT,
first.
P-I-V-O-T. Oh, so that's cool. I'm a really good speller. I suck at math. So pivot, like just pivot. They're all very overlapping, obviously, but if you're not doing what you love, if you're not doing what you want, if you're not following the fire, freaking pivot, or just a tweak, like a subtle tweak might make a big difference. And also, with that, really, this is part of it, is revisiting who your ideal client is. It was like me going, oh my God, it's speakers. Hello. But I had to get to that point, and I had to be the girl who went on TV and spoke to I had to experience it myself before I could teach other people how to do it. And I'm not like the expert speaker. I speak too fast, etc.
I think you're freaking awesome.
Thank you. But dramatic pauses are so powerful. I'm learning about them. That was it.
Good.
Yeah. And go. All right. And the fifth one, what are we going to go for?
What have you got on there?
Have some leverage in your business.
Yeah.
So get leveraged. Okay, so get some leverage in your business, whether it be MLM. And by the way, you are welcome to join my doTERRA team. Okay, so get leverage in your business, being maybe an ebook, an e-course that you're creating, selling someone else's stuff. You know what, guys? You don't need to do it all on your own. Find someone who has a similar audience but a different offering and promote their ebook or their product, their program, their live event. Clip the ticket, affiliate. I'm all into that kind of stuff. I think that makes sense. Basically, in other words, you don't need to do it all yourself.
Love that.
Yeah. Just do the stuff that you want to do, and then ditch and delegate the rest.
You're so cute, Nat.
Pippa's like, P has been very quiet. Who can talk with these two in the room?
Yeah, you've done really well, actually.
No, it was because I was interested. It was very good.
Yeah.
Nat CW has an awesome message. She always does.
We could keep going.
You always learn something new. And
I love you girls. We've known each other for years and years.
Yeah.
And but you always learn something new. And I love hearing about your journey. I love watching you travel the globe. And the thing with Speaker Success, right? My event. One of the things I'm starting off with is saying to them, okay, guys, what is your version of Speaker Success? Because it's going to be different from yours and mine.
Yeah.
I would not want to go, some people want to go to a different country every month and travel and speak. I don't want to do that. I'm actually a homebody. I barely leave my house unless I go to a big event or an event that I organized or I'm speaking. I'm at home. I like being
homebody.
I am a homebody. So I think just be really clear on what your version of Speaker Success is, or success in general.
Yeah.
And just don't try to follow someone else's plan.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's part of the journey though, right? Sometimes you will actually follow someone else's plan because that's just the trusting of yourself, right? Until you can be like us extroverts and do what we want.
Don't we live in an amazing time where we can choose what we do with our life? The fact that I can be I remember very clearly my mum, and I know I make my mum out to be this bad person, but she actually isn't. But, and I think your mum's kind of the same. When are you going to get a real job? Or, they don't understand that you can design your own life. That, every time I say to Mum, oh, I'm going to do this, she's like, and how is that going to make you money? They just don't get it.
Yeah, quite different generation, hey?
Yeah, and we live in such a good time that we've got this thing called the internet where we can go, well, I'm just going to make money online. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it's going to happen, that we can do that. Yeah.
One of the things I say to my doTERRA team, and I think it relates to a lot of women entrepreneurs, is I say, stay on the plane. I say, stay on the plane, because sometimes, the roller coaster of business, and sometimes you're like, what am I doing? This is crazy. But like, stay on the plane, like just keep going, keep moving forward, but don't just do what you've always done. You do need to tweak and pivot. You do need to revisit, and you do need to get awesome coaching from awesome people like you guys. Yeah.
But I think it's also a really good point too, is you've got to get out of your bubble. So you can't just keep knowing the same people and getting your external validations from the same people. You must keep growing your connections and your networks, because that takes you out of your comfort zones.
That's right.
And that's why you need to do a networking event.
No, that's what I was like, okay, so Nat has to do another
networking. We've got a plan. We might go on a bus. We'll see. Might go on a boat.
We've planned it already. It's going to be awesome.
But I just want to do a shout out to the viewers. Like Pauline and I, before the show, we were saying that we've had some amazing feedback from you guys. The fact that you guys take the time out to tell us about that you watch the show, the fact that you share the show, tune up on the show, watch the replay. The amount of you who watch the replay while you're like doing other stuff is freaking awesome. Shout out to Helen tomorrow while you're making your bags.
Oh, I want to shout out to Katie, because she listens to us at the gym on a Thursday.
Oh, that's rad.
So she doesn't watch it, but she has it playing while
Katie,
she's
you got to watch it. I'm wearing my Greatest Showman sparkly top and jacket from Augustine.
And shout out to Shah. She's from, I think I've said your name right. She's watching from Perth with some ladies. But, the reason why Pauline does what we do, you get it, is for you guys, and so we appreciate it. We've got some more amazing guests. Like, they keep getting more amazing showing up. So thank you so much. Thank you, Nat. Like, seriously, very cool.
Thank you so much.
You came all the way from Meadow Bank over the harbour bridge to Orewa, to the big O.
Yeah.
And nice to have you back, P.
Thanks.
Yeah. Up and alert, ready to go.
So from next week, we don't have to say that it's good to be back.
It's good for you to be back. After 2 weeks.
It's official.
Yeah, so that's it for our show. Thank you guys.
Thanks,
if you
everyone.
did love it, make sure you share it out. If you've got any advice or, and
any comments.
I never remember. We love having you here, and we will catch up with you guys next time.
See you later, everyone. Bye. Oh, that's cool. Heaps of your peeps came on.
Are we out?